Hello friends, I welcome you all to another video by Officer's Mind. As I've mentioned earlier, I've been recommended 3 times for the armed forces. I've taken training from various officers of the Indian Army, Navy and the Air Force for more than a year in the field of SSB and personality development. I also hold a teaching experience of 3 years in the same field. Not only SSB, I've also given training to students who wanted to apply for the corporate sector as well as other areas of interests. I welcome you all to the third video in the series of videos for officer-like qualities. Well, gentlemen, so as a brief introduction, you need to understand that these officer-like qualities are judged at SSB. The whole procedure, all the testing, be it stage 1 or the stage 2, it is basically to check whether you have these 15 OLQs or not. These OLQs are rated on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest and 10 being the highest. Well, through this particular series based on officer-like qualities, you will be able to understand how you can rate the highest in any OLQ or get a rating which helps you to get recommended. The sole purpose of going for the SSB is to get the recommendation. It is not just a test which you merely have to qualify. You will have to be appropriate for being an officer in the armed forces. To achieve that, you need to know what officer-like qualities are and you need to prepare yourself accordingly. We have already discussed the factor 1, the factor 2. Today we'll be taking up the factor 3, which has 5 qualities in total. Let us take a look at what we have done till now. We have studied organization and planning. We have studied social adjustment. Now we'll be looking at social effectiveness. This has 5 qualities: self-confidence, initiative, ability to influence the group, speed of decision making, and liveliness. Let us jump on to the first quality. This comes under the social effectiveness factor, and the quality is self-confidence. Well, gentlemen, it is very important for you to understand if you have to excel in SSB, you need to have self confidence. It is basically faith in one's ability to meet stressful situations. Confidence is something where you have a lot of confidence, you can go out and speak freely, but if you're able to display the same under stress and you have faith in your own ability, that means you have self confidence. Gentlemen, to become strong and confident, you need to have these particular factors in your mind. First is make healthy choices in everyday life. You need to understand that if you make the right choices, that will help you enhance your confidence. You need to develop your goals and strategies for personal growth. Now, if you have a particular aim and ambition in life, it will be very easy for you to do the necessary things to achieve this particular goal. And you have to make certain strategies to do it. You have to challenge behavior and acquire healthy and productive attitude. Well, if you have to achieve greatness, you need to challenge your own abilities and make yourself better. You have to create healthy relationships. By that I mean you need to have good bonding with people around you. You need to increase independence and self awareness. That is, you have to be independent of your own thoughts. You have to think independently and you have to be aware of the things happening around you. You have to build a positive self esteem. That means being an optimist. You also have to build skills and acquire knowledge. Now, this is a very important part of self confidence. If you have the right amount of skills and the knowledge, it will help you to encounter any problem very effectively. This is something which might sound irrelevant, but you need to empower the people around you. That is, the people around you, if you are able to empower them, it will give you a lot of confidence because they in return will start respecting you. Now let us look at the perspective of SSB, how this particular thing is being checked. Appropriate appreciation of one's ability. Now in the interview, the interviewing officer is looking whether you're able to understand yourself or not, whether you're able to project yourself or not. This can be asked in the form of introduction. Now, when you're asked to introduce yourself, he sees that whether you're able to completely appreciate yourself or not. When he asks you about your strengths and weaknesses, he basically checks whether you know yourself or not, and whether you're able to appreciate this particular thing in the appropriate amount or not. If you're weak somewhere, whether you're able to talk about it or not. And this also come under the introduction part, where you know yourself or not is being checked. Now, independence of ideas, thoughts, and actions. You need to understand you have to have an opinion upon everything. This can only come if you have the right amount of knowledge and you have studied really well on that particular subject, and thereafter you have given a thought about it, and with strong reasoning you have come up with your own ideas and opinion. This is a very important cycle that you will have to follow. Next is whether he always works on alternatives and find a solution. Now, there are situations when you will not be able to find the exact solution. Whether you're a person who gets stuck in that situation or he is able to find the next most appropriate alternative solution and execute the same, will generally have calm posture under stressful situations. Now, how this can be checked in the interview? He might throw a SRT to you. He might check you on certain things that you have not done well in life, be it getting a good grades or be it failing somewhere. Now, when he talks about your failure, you generally will be under stress, and he sees whether you are able to speak freely during that particular situation or not. Now, the interviewer also puts you in unfamiliar conditions or under stress. That means he's basically trying to project some kind of SRT to you. It is a very new thing to you based on your PIQ. You have not had an exposure to that particular situation, and he throws that to you. See, overconfidence is always dangerous. You need to understand this. If you have too much faith in your abilities and you feel that you are a jack of all trades and you will not be bogged down anywhere and you can take on anything, that is generally overconfidence, and it will not help you to think clearly. Thinking clearly is very important. If you think clearly, then only you are able to appraise things properly. If you are able to do this, then you will be able to find a solution. Next is, do you handle day to day problems by yourself or seek for help? Are you a kind of person who always wants somebody to assist him in a particular situation, or he's able to tackle things by himself? He might throw a SRT to you where he says that certain dacoits are in a particular village and you are NCC cadets. What will you do in that case? You also have certain kind of arms. Are you a kind of person who will say I'll directly go to the police, or you're a kind of person who says I'll surround that particular village and then contact the police and not let these particular dacoits escape? This is being able to have faith in one's own ability. Let us move on to the next quality, under social effectiveness. This quality is being able to take initiative. Now, by this I mean ability to start an activity and sustain it. Initiative is not just being seen somewhere doing something, it is being able to start something by your own. Nobody is putting you in a particular situation where you are forced to start something, and when you have started it, you also need to sustain it. There are certain people who start something in life, but midway they feel that this isn't right for them, and then they just quit upon it. Are you that kind of person? This might be asked in the interview in some form of career aspect. Like, let us take an example. You decided to opt for maths, that is PCM, after your 10th standard, but suddenly in your 11th standard you realized you could not score well in it and you switched to arts. Now, this shows that you initiated something, or you had certain confidence when you started this and lost all the confidence when you were midway in it. You were not able to sustain this initiative that you started. Or you are organizing a particular fest, you are the organizer, and out of a sudden you realize that you're not able to handle things and you quit upon your job. That means if you're quitting upon something, that you started by your own, that means you do not have initiative. So just remember this. See, good planners have good initiative. People who plan things really well, by planning I mean they're able to have a foresight of things. If you are able to have a foresight, then definitely you are the one who will be able to plan things really well. Planning does not mean just having a foresight, it also means being able to justify things properly. If you have to organize a fest, that means you will have to first of all start the proceedings by taking the right amount of like taking permission from the right authorities, and then you will have to plan things accordingly. Next is, does he wait for instructions or originate action on his own? Now, this is really clearly indicates, if you are waiting for instruction, that means you're not a person who is taking initiative. If you originate your action on your own, that means you are the one who's taking initiative. Willingness to act in absence of orders. Now, this is clearly seen in the armed forces. You might land up in a scenario where you have taken a particular patrol and you lose all means of communication. Now, when you lose the communication means, then are you able to take decisions on your own in times of needs or in some contingency? Are you able to plan things or not? Now, steps taken to enhance performance in exams. Now, he will check whether, when, just imagine you were in a situation you did not score well in your 10th standard. When you switched on to your 11th standard, you had to take certain measures to upgrade your performance in the exam. Were you just sleeping all those days, or were you really acting, taking this initiative to do well in your examinations? Next is actions taken to improve employability. You are a person who is a graduate as of today, and are you putting some efforts in the direction of your career, or just sitting at home and waiting for something, some miracle to happen, and some random guy popping up at your door and saying that you have been recruited by this organization? Next is shown improvement in sports. Gentlemen, remember one thing, taking initiative is all about whether you were able to achieve this or not. Self development. If you are able to develop yourself over a period of time in any of these arenas, be it exam, be it employment, be it your performance in sports, extracurricular activities, that shows that you took initiative to build things. If you want to have better initiative or like do more, you were able to also enhance the performance of people around you. That means by either helping them in studies or originating something that benefited a lot of people. Next is alternative plans if not selected. Now, this, they generally ask you a question, what if you don't get selected? Then are you able to come up with necessary points, and necessary alternatives in life, so that you, this shows that you are a good planner, you have a foresight. If you don't get selected here, then you definitely have a foresight of coming up with something else to do good to your life. Next is efforts to upgrade GK. Now, GK seems to be not that important subject in the SSB. That is what is felt by most of you. But if you are aware of what is happening around you and you're able to originate an action to know more about it, that means you have something called initiative. You have taken steps to upgrade your knowledge. Now, originality in answers during interview. Gentlemen, this is very important, very, very important. Originality in, if you tell me today that you can go to some random coaching institute and they can tell you what you are supposed to answer, if they ask you why do you want to join defense, if they can tell you this and the same answer you can put it over there, and if you get recommended, I will literally clap for you, because I don't believe that somebody can frame your answers. You will have to frame them by yourselves. So you'll have to frame your answers by yourself. Now you need to understand, these coaching institutes or these people will help you right now, but they will not help you after you become an officer. So then you will have to think all by yourself. So start doing it today. Now, next is keenness. Are you a person who takes interest? If you are one who takes interest, then definitely nobody can ever come and tell you do this. You will not be the one who will be waiting for instructions. You will be the one who will be originating an action. This is what is required in the armed forces. Let us look upon the next quality under social effectiveness, and the quality is ability to influence the group. Gentlemen, this is a very important quality. Now, why do I say this? Because after all, armed forces is an organization where people work under groups. And if you have to have an influence upon this group, see, you'll be made the one who's supposed to lead men under various ops of war. And if you have to achieve this, then it is very important for you to understand leading men can only take place if you set an example. And after setting an example, these men are influenced by you. Now, how will they be influenced by you? Let us take a look upon that. The art of winning cooperation of others and guiding the group for a group aim. Now, gentlemen, remember one thing. In an organization, we are supposed to work under groups. For you, you will come at the very end. The aim of the group comes first, then the people in the group, and then you come. You come the last, so you are the last priority. If you are underconfident and over anxious candidate, then definitely you will lack confidence and people will not be listening to you. People will be looking at you as a candidate who's just going to be a burden for the group and will not help the group to achieve the group aim. Now, if you hold views in controversy or just surrender, are you that kind of person who just believes in getting into a controversy, or you are that person that who knows that this controversy cannot be resolved, this argument cannot be resolved? See, there is no end to an argument, so it is better that you don't get under one. Like, by doing this, you will lose support of people. The next one is mild or submissive character, inability to give firm views will project poor leadership. Now, see, to influence a group of people, first of all, you need to have knowledge. After having knowledge, this knowledge has to be channelized into certain things called thoughts. These thoughts have to be reasoned well, and thereafter they have to be delivered in a way that they reach out to people. If you are able to complete this particular cycle, that means you will get a support of a lot of people. If you're not able to do it, you'll just project as a poor leader. Now, factor 2 and confidence will definitely help you to achieve this quality. As we have seen that people who are socially adaptable, socially acceptable, they will definitely be able to get in the group. And if you have confidence, then you will be able to project yourself to the group and be able to influence them. Convincing others with logic and reasoning. As I mentioned earlier, if you have the right amount of reasoning supported to your thoughts, definitely they'll be convinced. Gentlemen, remember one thing. In group discussions, you cannot make the group sway towards a particular point till the time you don't give a good reasoning supported by a good logic. Next is performance while holding position of responsibility. Now he definitely will ask you, tell me certain places where you have held certain responsibility, and then we'll ask you, how did you handle the responsibility? Is moreover focused upon how did you behave with people. When you were put in a place where people were there and you were supposed to achieve something, how did you behave? How did you influence them? How did you win their confidence? This is very, very important. A yes man attitude, apologetic smile, sheepish manners, and glorifying himself for small achievements shows poor leadership. This will never help you to get the support of the group, gentlemen. You cannot be a yes man. If you do not believe in something, you have to oppose it. Let us take a look at the next quality under social effectiveness. This is speed of decision. Now, gentlemen, the art of decision making is very, very clear. See, I'll explain it to you. You have to first of all understand a particular situation. This is the decision making process. Now, in this, you will have to understand a particular situation. It goes into your mind. Now, when it goes into your mind, you have to mark the problems in the particular situation or the things that you have to supposed to encounter and win upon. And then, when you have identified the problems, then you need to make certain objectives which you have to achieve. Now, diagnose the problem. By this, I mean break that particular problem into various parts and then try to find a solution. Now, if Now, when you're diagnosed the problem, then you need to come upon developing the alternatives, means finding the solution for that particular problem that has been diagnosed. Now, if these solutions do not work out, you also have to evaluate the alternatives. Every solution that you come up for a particular problem, you will have to see its consequences, the goods and the bads. And if they are not able to work out, look for alternatives. Now, out of all these solutions that you have found for a particular problem, choose the best alternative and implement the alternative. So in simple language, if I tell you, you are supposed to travel from Delhi to Mumbai. Now this has to be achieved in a day. So when it goes to your mind, then certain options come to your mind. These options are bus, train, air, and your own vehicle. Out of all these options, now you have certain constraints. The constraint is one day. So which are eliminated? Bus is eliminated. You also have train that is eliminated. You might not be able to reach in a day. Now air and own vehicle. Out of this, you look for another particular aspect, that is comfort. Then this own vehicle part is eliminated and you just have one option left, that is air travel. And you have to now implement it and reach over to that place in a day. Speed of decision is basically the ability to think faster and arrive at workable decisions quickly. You have to thinking is not required in armed forces. A lot of people can think, thinking is definitely required, but a lot of people can think thinking quickly is required in the armed forces. There are particular places even a 2 seconds delay or a minute's delay can cause an impact on somebody's life. Now the appropriateness of the decision is important. Like you come up with certain alternatives or certain solutions. Now are these solutions appropriate to the situation or not? Next, feasibility and practicality. You could have said that I will just open a door and reach Mumbai, certain door that I've seen in Doraemon, just open it and reach over there. That definitely is not a practical solution. You are not living in a dreamy world, so do not give impractical solutions. Or you can also say, I'll drive my car at the speed of 120 or 140 and I'll reach there very quickly. I'll not even have to spend the time at the airport. That is very impractical. Now, good knowledge always helps in making good decisions. Now, as I was aware of this is a very common example, but certain tough situations, if you have certain good amount of knowledge, you will be able to make wise decisions. Now analysis of decision taken, it is very important. If you have to come up with better decisions in future, you have to analyze the present decision that is taken in a particular situation. The situation might arise again and you have to take a similar decision but with different constraints. So you can use this particular knowledge and experience for the future perspectives also. A gentleman, where speed of decision will be checked, he might check it through various decisions that you have already taken. So decisions already taken have to be defended at SSP. How are these decisions asked to you? They might be asked in different forms. What did you choose after 10th standard? What did you choose after 12th standard? Which college did you opt for? Why did you join this college? Everywhere he's just asking your decisions that you have taken already in your life. Or whom do you love more, your mother or your father? Why are you doing your present job? All these are basically decisions that are being questioned upon your constraints that you had seen and the options and the alternatives that you have had. Let us now focus on the final quality, that is liveliness. Gentlemen, this is something you already, all of you are aware of. Still, I'll explain it to you. See, liveliness is about the ability of an individual to maintain a cheerful demeanor under stressful circumstance and also bring the same change in the group. Whether a particular candidate is able to hold himself or is able to be positive under a stressful condition also. There's certain candidates you must have seen that under stress they just go calm and they're still able to work well and be effective in nature. These kind of candidates actually are lively in nature. You have to be a lively one. So he might try to know your behavior around your close ones, like your family. How do you behave with them under stress? He might ask you, tell me some situation when you were under financial constraints. He might ask you about friends. Tell me of a day when you had argument with your friends and how did you bury it off. Next is participation in groups and social activities. Now, groups and social activities actually tell me a lot about your behavior, whether you are a social person or not, whether you are a person who goes out to people and interacts with them or you are a person who just likes to stay indoor, and when you're interacting with them, how do you do it? As I mentioned earlier, you'll be inquiring friends. And are you an optimist? A person who has a lot of optimism in him definitely would be lively. Now, developing a positive mindset. I will make a separate video on this, but I'll tell you the basics. First is belief. Believe in your inner guts. That is the first stage of it. The next is be conscious. Certain ways to build up your level of conscious is by journaling and meditation. That means you have to be very, very conscious while doing everything. If you know what is happening around you, you definitely will be able to be positive about it. Next is declaring positivity. Positive affirmations are strict reminders and declaration of your worth. It's a magnet that pulls your declaration to manifestation. If you are able to think positively about the things around you, like there is a particular let us take an example. You are supposed to reach a place at a particular point of time. If you feel that I'll be able to reach, you will reach. If you feel that I will not be able to make it, you definitely will not be able to make it. Next one is gratitude. By gratitude, it means adopt the gratitude syndrome. Be thankful for the things the universe has brought to you your way rather than preserving negative thoughts, unhappiness, or confusion. Gratitude, that means you just have to be of a good mindset, or you just have to show gratitude to people. You have to just help them, be kind to them. You have to care for your own self. This is very important. If you care for yourself, definitely you'll be very positive throughout the day. Surround yourself with positivity. That means be around people who are positive, who are lively. Just do away with the negative aspects of your life. Let us come to the end of this. Gentlemen, a true leader has the confidence to stand alone, the courage to make tough decisions, and the compassion to listen to the needs of others. He does not set out to be a leader, but becomes one by the equality of his actions and the integrity of his intent. This was marked by Douglas MacArthur, D- Douglas MacArthur, and I truly believe in this. If you are a true leader, your actions have to speak more louder than your words, and your integrity will never fade. People will recognize it, and you will become a good military leader. Gentlemen, I thank you all for watching this video. I put the link of the previous videos in the description based on the officer like qualities. I'll be coming up with the last video on factor 4, and then we'll be proceeding ahead. I thank you all for watching this video.